Let's dive right into it. What is good, everyone? Eric Oakley here of Infinite Discs, and we're here for the final installment of my building the bag video. I have distance drivers. I have a plethora of companies and plastics and different opportunities to test out. A lot of these I have thrown, but some of them I haven't. So I'm really intrigued to try them out for both backhand and forehand. I think distance drivers are something that I have struggled with in the past, but I've found some that are really opening my eyes to what's possible, and I'm ready to kind of go out, send it, and get everything out of these, because I feel like the courses are only getting longer, so the better I can control these, the better I'll shoot. So let's dive right into it. Leading us off, we have the Erica Stinchcomb VIP-X sword. I've never really thrown the sword much, but I've seen some videos recently, and a lot of people are jamming on these, so hoping and expecting a really kind of true straight to flight that I can put some power into. Feels good though too. It's not too deep. Much more stable than I expected. Had some flip up. Whew. All right, I gotta follow through a little bit more on that. That's a nice flight though. Definitely want to try and drive that one a little bit more forward. Got that one a little nose up, so we'll keep warming up. One that I have here is the D Model S from Prodigy. It's their Ace line. I was just grabbing discs that I could find just to test out. The numbers seem decent as a disc that I might like and might look to try out, but you know, it all depends on how it flies. Feels big. Definitely feels like a true 13 speed, which is not something I'm that big of a fan of. Flies good though. Get that one up in the air a little more. That was decently stable too. Interesting. I liked that driving forward. I don't know, it might be a feel thing again. It's like, what can I do with it? I'm not sure. That one's interesting. Much better than I expected. So now we're on to the Discraft Andrew Presnell Tour Series Force from 2021. The Force is a disc that I have heard a lot about and seen a lot of people throw and just make look really good. So ready to give this one a test. I feel like this is one that I'm definitely going to want to drive flat, not really going to get much hyzer flip out of it. The more I drive it flat, the more distance I'll get, and if I can even push it over, we'll go a long ways. It's good stability. Look at that fade and jump left. Yeah. Kind of exactly what I was expecting from the Force. Was lots of power, kind of hold straight for a decent while with that power, and then looks to kind of fade. If I were to throw it on hyzer, I don't think I would get flip up. So that's why it's really important to release those kind of more flat. So the Force is definitely one that I'm ready to give it a couple more rips. I kind of want to find maybe a more domey one if I could. That one's on the flatter side, so if I had a domey one, I think I'd like it a little bit more. Speaking of domey, got the Halo Wraith, Garrett Girthy. Seen these ripped plenty on the course, so I think this disc kind of speaks for itself. The Wraith is a really good one. Same concept, I'm gonna drive this kind of flat and forward. Cut it over, a little nose up. Good stability. Good distance. It's not bad. I don't know if that's any different from some of the other 12 speeds that I've been throwing, like a Destroyer or an Emperor. So I don't know why I would throw an 11 speed over a 12. Who knows? I think in more testing, we'll find out. Speaking of Emperors, I got a pair, 2 different plastics, been really liking them. I have the Concrete, this is Luster Metal Flake, and I got Swirly S-Blend. From the Concretes, I should expect a little bit less stability. And then in the swirly S-blends, I should get a lot more stability and good glide because it's a little domier. So this is a plastic end that I've been actually really enjoying for big distance and for forehands in the concrete Emperor. God, it feels so good in the hand. Depth is perfect. Pulled that over, but watch it stay up in the air. Have that fight. Forward push. Let's go. That's pretty much it. It's all you need to see. Like, that's the Emperor.
So that would be considered good.
That is considered good. That is exactly why I've liked the Emperor so much, where I think I've had discs in the past where the moment I got it over like that, they would never have the integrity to peel out. So I want that integrity to peel out so I know I can trust it on different angles. You know, and now it's about getting one seasoned in to where I can release that on hyzer and get a similar flight as well. Onto the swirly S-blend Emperor. Just bombs. That goes a long way. Again, once I get one seasoned in, I feel like that's just gonna go forever. That's a brand new one, and I have some that I've been rotating in my bag. And again, trusting being able to push it over, trusting that it's going to hold for a pretty long time before it has fade. So it's a really, really useful distance driver. Great on a forehand as well. So Emperor is a front runner for, you know, a disc that I have a feeling I'm going to be using a lot this year. On to the Tina Oakley Dynamic Disc Trespass. Had to do a hybrid trespass. I haven't really thrown the trespass much in the past, but I felt like, you know, why not? Shout out my wife. I love this human being so much. So let's see how this flies. I've seen her throw it. She's able to push it over on a little anhyzer and get some fight back. So I'm gonna try and hit it maybe similar to how I hit that sword, with a little bit of hyzer and hopefully a little less nose up. I'll let it ride. Does have a more shallow feel, so I think that's gonna be an issue. Like if you like a turn, I think you'd really like a trespass. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, stay up, please. Whoo-wee. I mean, that might have use as like just a distance driver turnover disc, but at the same time, I don't know, after that beats up, it might not hold up as long, but I get it. Trespass is bomb. I should have probably been throwing them a little bit more with my time at DD, but that was impressive. Held up pretty decently as well, and that's a 171, so that's like, for my arm speed, was still able to handle a decent amount of integrity. I could see throwing some big, huge turnovers with a disc like that. Onto Calvin Heimburg Halo Destroyer. This one I know is going to be kind of a staple as a distance driver that I can trust when the wind picks up. This one in particular isn't crazy overstable, but because this is the softer run. But if you find the stiffer runs, those are the ones that are very overstable. So that's what I like for more utility, high-speed disc. But this run, I feel like is going to be, all right, I want distance, but it's windy. So I'll throw this maybe over an Emperor where the Emperor might get tossed around in the wind a little bit. So, or, you know, that trespass wouldn't have held up into any wind. So I definitely would need to be throwing this. And so I can trust to get distance, you know, but not having to sacrifice integrity. So good depth, good feel, plastic's awesome, and supports Calvin. I love that human. All right. This one I'm definitely going to want to hit kind of flat and try and drive it forward, similar to the Wraith. And I threw it in the ground. Sorry, Calvin. Yeah, that was on me. But I think what I'm doing with that disc right now is I'm overthrowing it. So I just need to kind of come down on it and just be a little bit smoother. We'll fix it. On to a unique disc. This is very, very wide rim. The Kiwi from RPM. I'm not sure what the numbers are. It feels overstable. So we're just gonna hit it nice and flat and see what it does. Feels maybe better for a forehand grip than it does a backhand grip. Feels very fast. Nice and smooth. Holy cow. Is that a tilt? Holy cow.
That was nuts.
That was so overstable. I did not expect that. There's another disc in here from them that I was expecting to be more overstable. Huh. Well, that needs to be thrown differently. Oh my goodness, that was nutty. All right, onward. On to a disc that I've really been liking is the Space Synapse. This is really good. I'm excited to see it in some different plastics. This is in ethereal, and it's a little flatter, feels really good for some forehands. Flies very similarly to my Emperors. What I'm hoping is when we get maybe Ethos or Glow, it gets a little bit more stable, so where it slots in between a Destroyer and an Emperor, or maybe fits the distance, that distance destroyer where I use the utility destroyer instead, if that makes sense. So I've been really liking this. I feel like this is good distance, comes out fast, has good integrity. This absolutely bombs. I'm gonna hit 2 of them just because I can, and I like them. Nice and smooth, gets play. Easy flight. It's really nice. Just an effortless disc to kind of throw and allow it to work. I feel like if I'm gonna try on this next one to get it a little higher with some anhyzer and really see if we can push some bigger distance. So I think that's the part of it, is like throwing this type of shot just flat and releasing, you know, we're not going to be, this isn't max distance. It's like when we're really pushing for some distance and we have the airspace, it's when we're really going to be able to stretch them out. So I'm going to really try and play this left side and get some full flight out of this Synapse. Just have the fade. Woo, late fade. And that was nice. I felt like I hit that pretty hard on anhyzer, and it wasn't ever turning and burning. It was holding out, peeling out. And I think learning that the angles a little bit more are gonna be really, really nice for that one. I wanna definitely see what it's gonna be like coming back the opposite direction, see if I can drive it a little bit more forward and get a flip up on a lower screaming line. So that'll be fun. I'm enjoying that. All right, another RPM, the Kahu. Again, this feels really big in the hand. I think that's the one part about these distance drivers, is that they feel big in the hand. So if you have smaller hands, you might not love it. Feels probably a little better for a forehand than it does on a backhand. This has some better numbers, like kind of like more like a boss numbers. So hopefully this one doesn't punk on me like the Kiwi did. So I'm gonna hit this one. I'm gonna hit this one nice and flat and see what it does. Again, feels pretty stable. That's a better flight. That's fast. I'm not even getting these that far out there, but that was fast. So I don't know, might be the rim width is why it's like, it kind of felt like it fell out early. But that was a nice flight. A little better than the Kiwi. The Kiwi straight punked me. On to the next one. We have the Kastaplast Grym X. This one, it feels more like an 11 speed, but flies like a 12 speed. It calls a 12 speed, but definitely feels more like a shallow Wraith is what I'd call it. But it's got good integrity. Should be able to pop this one nice and flat and get a good flight out of it. That is a lot more understable than I expected. So when I threw the Grym X, It was in Utah. So the elevation, I think, was making the disc fly a lot more stable for me. So now that I know that, I'm excited to kind of throw that one with a little bit more hyzer and trust the disc a little bit more, because I can guarantee I'm going to get that natural drift and turn. So I'm excited to keep throwing that one, see if I can get some effortless distance out of it. On to another infinite discs. I have the Pharaoh. This reminds me of like what I saw people throw shrikes. When I saw a lot of people, you get effortless distance out of the end of a shrike, but maybe a tick more stable. So like Shrike Plus, Shrike Pro, whatever you want to call it. This is one that you're not ever like putting full power on. I watched Martin Hendel throw one of these incredibly far, and he's got just the most buttery, smooth type of form. So he spins it out there and lets the disc kind of do the work for him. So I'm hoping to do something similar here with this Infinite Discs Pharaoh. Shrike 3. I like it.
Strikes, you're out.
Or I'm going to throw it to the moon, stay over the trees. That felt so fast out of my hand. And it got caught in the trees. Wow, I can't wait to throw that one again.
I think it was hauling.
Yeah, dude, that felt like it just exploded out of my hand. If I could learn the distance on that, it might be really, really nice. On to one that's talked about. I have two of them. I have two nukes. I had to grab the Ezra Adderhold nuke because I've heard him talk about it a ton. Then I got a Page Pierce one. Different shapes. One's flat, one's domey. So I just wanted to give these a try. I feel like this is going to be a better disc for forehand for me. Again, this is where the rim width feels enormous. So it's going to be interesting. I'll start with the Ezra nuke. And watching him throw, he throws really hard, so I feel like I need to push this one nice and flat. Please stay clean. Ooh, dang. That had less stability than I was expecting. Might be because it's flat, so I'm going to try and hit this domey one the same way. Because that came out a lot better than I thought. That is very good. Wow. Huh. All right, Nuke. What's good? You are. Huh. I'm excited to throw that one more. A lot more. I think I like the feel of the Page Pierce one over the Ezra. Sorry, bud. But just the dome feels a little bit more comfortable on that backhand grip. Now, on a forehand grip, the Ezra might feel a little better, so we'll see. On to the Raider from Dynamic Discs. I've been throwing this disc for years. Get this one from my boy Dust. Cool die job. Definitely learned the angles and had to learn how to kind of throw this disc a lot. So take some time, but it's a good disc and felt like it needed to be in this lineup to at least test it out. Hit this one with a touch of hyzer. I came over that one. That cruise though, definitely had some high speed turn. Didn't stay up, get that play out, but that could have been because I just pulled it over too harshly. So yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, Raiders. I know what they do. I think they're a much better disc on forehand than they are on a backhand, is what I've been able to gather. Well, if the Kiwi was wildly overstable, this Kotare, I'm not sure which one it is, feels maybe even more, just looks aggressive. It's kind of nuts.
It looks like a tilt.
It kind of does. All right, we're gonna hit it flat. Hopefully we throw this 300 feet. How about 305 feet? Wow.
What are those?
Those are like, I gotta throw them upside down. Like, that's what has to happen. I have to throw them upside down at this point. Wow. All right, well, let's go grab them and we'll hit some back, because I definitely have some that I definitely feel like I need to hit again. So we'll make it happen. So we got a couple throws under the belt. I'm gonna definitely try and really play these through this gap behind me. This is one that I really like to throw from. I'm gonna try and hit the tree that's dead straight out, or kind of what you see, that building. I'm gonna be throwing at that building to see if I get some natural turn or if I get some natural fade. It's all kind of figuring out what type of shots that these can throw for. And this is the perfect one. I can't release it if I release it early, I'm grabbing some trees. If I release it late, I'm grabbing some trees. So I'm definitely trying to drive it through the gap to see if I can get that extra distance I'm looking for out of these distance drivers. We'll lead us off with the Grym X. Just nice and smooth. Saw this one was a little less stable, so I want to drive it on hyzer through the gap. Yeah, give it some hyzer and that thing crushes. That was nice. It might be a little too shallow and a little too understable. Finicky comes to mind, but I don't think that seems like a too aggressive term. It's just flippier than I was expecting. And in this slot, like, I rather something season into that. So yeah, that one I'm gonna throw. I might try for a forehand, but at the current state of things, I'm feeling okay. Now that is just absolutely crunched. Holy cow.
That's the parking lot.
Seems good. I connected with that one. That's probably one of the best throws I've had in this Building the Bag series, of how my form felt, how everything went into the disc. That was nice. That's what I want to be throwing like all the time. But what you got to see is that I was able to throw without worry. I was able to rip into that disc, trust that it was going to kind of ride. We have a slight, maybe right to left, maybe tail right to left. So I was able to really trust that disc to kind of get into the wind and ride it. And again, never worry that, oh man, I hit the wrong angle or anything. I just could trust everything about that disc and how I threw it. So that's why I'm liking the Emperor. All right, we got the Concrete Emperor. This one, if I hit similarly, we might see a little more turn. A little higher, but also absolutely murdered. I'm gonna say it right now. Spoiler, Emperor's in the bag. It's as simple as that. You don't even, I'm gonna go through the rest of them because I need other slots, but the Emperor is 100% in the bag. On to the RPM Kahu. This is the one that I felt like I could actually get to stay in the air a little bit more. Probably will fly very similar to the Nuke. So I'm gonna hit it about the same. I mean, that's the Australian Nuke right there. That's what I'd call that. The Aussie Nuke. Feels similar, gets nice stability, has maybe a little more overstability, so it's on the overstable side, but not like a Nuke OS, but just like an actual Nuke with some stability. Feel-wise, I mean, if you're looking for it, it's worth trying. I think that one will actually probably fly a little better for some forehand, so we'll see. Give it a rip. I think we did. That's crushed. That was a lot of work and a lot of hyzer to make that flight happen, but that was fun. Like that's I think one thing that gets us excited about throwing discs is that type of flight. Like, oh, like you want somebody to say, oh no, when you throw that out of your hand, like because you put too much hyzer on it. And then it's because you trust the disc so much that you get that late flip to turn, and then it's like, oh wow. So it's an easy transition. Pharaoh could be interesting. Could see it beating into being like a distance roller. But I've been liking the mantra for rollers, and I feel like you get plenty of distance out of that. So it's a maybe. It's okay. Like, I don't know if it's for me. I think I can get an Emperor to do something similar after it seasons in, and it'll be a lot more reliable. So, but Pharaoh is really good. If you like the Shrike and want to try something different, Pharaoh's it. Perhaps feel like this is I'm going to throw it similarly to how I hit the Emperor and just push it out there, see if we get a little bit of difference in flight. Very, very similar. Maybe a little shorter, but I think that one was a touch nose up, and I didn't get enough on it. But
200%. Hit your car.
I don't think I can. But it was a very clean flight and a very clean angle out of the hand, so I like the Synapse a lot. That one I got over on a little bit. That's a good flight. A little more left finish than forward finish than we see from the Emperor. So that might be the difference. It's kind of maybe, again, I'm looking forward to seeing that in a couple of different plastics. The ethereal is really, really nice. It's a little bit flatter, so it's going to feel great on a forehand. But yeah, Synapse is dope. Let's go grab them and let's throw some forehands. All right, when we get into forehands, I am going to take some of these out. I think there's some that I'm not jiving with, and that doesn't mean they're bad discs. They are quality discs. Every disc that I've thrown today is awesome, but I just have stuff that I'm looking for, and I can already kind of eliminate a few. The Raider I've thrown for a while. I know, but I don't need to put more throws into it, so I'm going to be done with that. I definitely want to hit the Wraith on a forehand. The Grym, I think, is, again, it's just it's the feel in the hand. It's a little too shallow, so I'm going to leave that one out. D-Model S, same reason, just the feel in the hand. Synapse is definitely going to get some forehand rips, force for sure. Pharaoh is going to be out. I feel like it's no, take that back. Pharaoh's going to be in because I have an idea. Because there's a couple shots maybe at Waco I'm be looking forward to trying. Sword in, Emperor's in. I mean, are we going to say the rest of them are in? Probably. Yeah, Synapse, Nuke in, Destroyer, duh. Kotare. I feel like the Kotare and the Kiwi are going to be thrown their own special way. Yeah, so I'm just going to remove those three for now. The Kahu, the Trespass, and the Nukes are all staying in for some forehands. And then on the Kiwi and the Kotare, I'm going to throw them a very different way to see what I can kind of do with that unique style of disc. So let's dive right into some forehands. Let's get after it. That thing is really fast. Pretty overstable. Didn't hit that one as clean as I wanted, but the Kahu was good. I feel like I can do more with other discs though. We got the Trespass. Give this a nice smooth release. That one came out early. I think that's where the Trespass and I don't get along. This is a shallow rim. But the Trespass is very good, and more people should throw it. All right, we got Ezra Nuke. That's going places. Whew. That was crushed. All right, Nukes. Nukes definitely, I think for me, feel a lot better on the forehand than they do on the backhand. And that was actually what a bunch of Discraft players told me, that I would probably really like the Nuke. Would have been very impressed with how clean it comes out on a backhand. So Nuke has been probably the most surprising of the drivers, but again, it might be that it's a little too wide for what I'm looking for. Oh, that one is stable. Holy cow. Wow, Paige, chill. Holy cow. Yeah, all right. Synapse. go right into it. Definitely liked the play of getting it over a little bit if I can. That's effortless. That's money. Very nice. Very, very nice. Now I'm gonna try and push this one over a little bit more, see what kind of integrity we have and see what kind of distance we can push. Stay up. Let's get a little extra distance out of the Synapse. Yeah, Synapse is good. I think, again, I'm looking for that type of disc, but maybe it's a different plastic in the Synapse. The ethereal's nice, but I think I'm ready for something a little different. That's why we throw Emperors. Holy cow.
Forehand versus backhand, Synapse versus Emperor. Why both? Why what? Synapse forehand, Emperor forehand.
I feel like the Synapse has a little less play flipping up, so it's a little bit more like direct in its movements, where the Emperor is more like swingy in its movements. So it'll be an interesting, again, like I think there might be a point where I take one of them out for the other. Likely the Emperor stays in, the Synapse comes out. But again, once we see the Synapse in some different plastics is when I think things are really gonna change. On to the Pharaoh. This is one that I was a little skeptical on, but I wanted to try it on like a super kind of hyzer flip forehand. It's gonna be interesting with this left to right wind, but if I trust it and give it a good snap, it should work out nicely. That's gonna be hanging out in my backup bag for sure.
Like a really long Eric Oakley Claymore forehand.
Yes, exactly. So I will have the Pharaoh until I beat up an Emperor that can do something similar. And I don't think it will take long to get an Emperor to do that, but having that Pharaoh at the ready for whenever I get to Waco, there's a couple forehands that kind of require that type of shape from a hyzer and late drifting that is difficult to do right now with an Emperor. So again, just got to season them in. Wow. That's bombed. All right, sword. All right. That was sweet.
Anything to say about the sword before I change the battery?
It's good. Sword's good. I don't know if I'll use it because it flies similar to the other stuff that I'm really liking. But if you're a Trilogy fan, there's no reason you shouldn't have an Erica Stinscombe VIP X sword in your bag or in your arsenal at any point. Incredible disc, incredible person. Support her, and yeah, and you'll love the disc as well. Got an Andrew Presnell Force. I feel like this reminds me and feel like of an Enforcer that I was throwing a lot. So I feel like this is going to be one that I can trust a little bit more, like the Destroyer too. I mean, I threw that into the ground, but I did a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna go straight into the Destroyer on this one because I feel like these are trying to fight for a similar role, but I didn't throw that one as clean. But I definitely want a Destroyer or this type of disc that I can push over and trust, but just push over slightly. Just like that. And that fade, that's what I want. Put me out at Lake Eureka or some wooded or some big open water courses. I know I can throw that shot, fade, or USDGC, fade away from water, fade away from danger, put it into play comfortably. That's why we do that. I'm gonna lean on the Destroyer over the Force in that one. Sorry, Prezi. And now we'll throw the Wraith. Should probably fly very almost identical to the Force or the Destroyer, I feel like. Oh, definitely a little more flight. Came out pretty quick. I got Emperors for that. I like the Wraith is good, and I understand why people like it, but I don't think it has a place for my bag. All right, utility discs. RPM, get a little special segment. I'm gonna throw these Kotares and this Kiwi. Just gonna throw them. I'm gonna throw them like I have no sidearm. I'm gonna force it way over. Be careful with my shoulder. I'm not gonna try and throw it too hard. Whoa! Well, again, I think that these, if you're a fan of the stiletto and haven't found one stable enough, grab a Kotare. You'll be fine. Like, this is the disc that you've been looking for. I know that there's been some really good, they had Opto-X stilettos that were out that were crazy. You can get these and not have to go and search for them. This is the same disc. Pretty crazy.
Tilts out of stock?
Yes, pretty close. All right, same thing. All right, that plastic I can get to fly a little bit more, but still wildly overstable. Huh, that's nutty. So the more translucent plastic felt a little more stable than the more opaque plastic. Not sure the names of them, but these are useful. Reminds me of a fast Glimmer Lucid X Felon. All right, Kiwi, show me what you got. It's so overstable. It's kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts. I'm gonna throw a couple sidearms back just to give a couple tests. I'm gonna eliminate some, and we're just gonna throw a couple back, and then we'll do a wrap up. I got a final few that I'm just gonna give a couple more controlled sidearms back to where we were filming before, and really kind of just try and place the drives, not full power, really play some hyzers or some flip ups and let them work, and then also throw the utility discs again just to give them a rip, because I think these are super unique, and I will likely be using these in niche situations, depending on the course, depending on the weather, depending on what I need. If I can't do it with what I'm already bagging, I can definitely have these at the ready. So I might look to pick up a couple more. RPM has given me a utility disc that I didn't know that I was looking for, so it's awesome to see. The other discs, fantastic options, but I'm gonna throw with what feels the most comfortable for me at the moment. So that's what we're going with. Let's wrap this up. All right, we'll start with that Pharaoh. And into this wind, it's going to be interesting because it's going to be wanting to pull it and get it over. So it's going to be definitely about being buttery smooth. Like that I was able to keep that on hyzer and not throw it too hard. Definitely can put a little more on that. I like it. With the synapses, these I'm going to try and drive kind of flat right at my car and let them peel right to the tree. Easy fade. Kind of money. All right, we're gonna hit the destroyer very similarly. I think that we'll get this one will be harder to make fly that far, so it doesn't necessarily have the same amount of turn, but we're gonna hit it nice and clean. Yeah, I had to work for that one, but that's money. Whoo! That's exactly where we were aiming. Let's go. All right, on to the Emperors. These should be effortless distance, especially in this wind. I want to keep it on a hyzer the whole time. Might have been a little flat out of my hand, but okay, we're long. I love it. All right. Got the concrete. This one Definitely has a little more play. Drive it on a hyzer. That effortless flip up. Stay off the branches. Park it. Oh, I got the branches. Still sick. You'll love to see it. All right. Yeah, let's hit these again. We'll hit the Kiwi first. I'm gonna throw them exactly like I did. Not a whole lot of power. Just pushed over on a good angle. And just watching them work. That is absolutely nutty. All right, so we'll test this more star-like, S-blend-like plastic. Again, it felt like this one was held a little longer than the more champ or C-blend-like plastic. Doesn't matter if you give it height. That is pretty nuts. Like, this is a get out of trouble disc. All right, I'm gonna go higher and even more angle on this one. So almost like almost an overhand type throw. See what we get. It's a utility disc. It's like, I'm gonna be in situations where I need to go over something, or I'm gonna have to play this outrageous flex, and I have that as an option. I think the Metal Flake Glow Scepter can do it, but that is just significantly faster, so I'm getting that extra distance that I'm looking for, and in certain situations, you need that extra distance. So I might be interested in seeing those on some overhands, maybe even a grenade, or a Scooby, and just to kind of see what they can do. Maybe, man, I might be able to get a nice slow pin and get some extra distance on some overhands, so to open up a couple different lines. RPM, you're surprising me. Let's go wrap this up. All right, so to wrap up this whole thing, what I'm really jiving on is right here in this stack. A couple of honorable mentions would be Presnal Force, super solid disc. Either Nuke, I was very impressed by. Discraft is putting out great stuff. It's just as simple as that. So you love to see it. The Trespass and the VIPX Sword, both from two amazing humans. One I happen to love more than the other. Sorry, Erica. Tina's the love of my life. But those two discs were really surprising and great options, and I think better discs for more players. So definitely look to check those out. As some really great options out there. But from what I'm going to be jiving with, definitely some version of the Synapse will be in and out of the bag no matter what's going on throughout the season. I'm really liking it as a complement to the other discs. I think it can do just slightly different things, and I need to kind of keep learning it. So being able to bag it and compare it to the other discs is going to be huge. And again, I'm really looking forward to maybe the Synapse and Ethos or Glow to see what I can do with it and see if the stability changes to give it even more options. The Destroyer from Innova, I'm gonna have some version of this always in the bag, looking to get maybe one that's a little bit more overstable than this, so I can have a more utility and a disc that when the wind picks up, it's just no nonsense. But when I want some distance, I'll be grabbing these when the wind picks up. Loving the Destroyer. And then the Emperor, the two blends, S-Blend and Concrete. Gonna have both of these. Be throwing more forehands with the Concrete, but maybe even some bigger like turnover backhands after I get it nice and seasoned in. And then the Swirly S-Blend can just do it all. So this is like probably gonna be the disc that I throw the most this season as the distance driver goes. And the Pharaoh will have a niche spot while I wait on a disc to kind of get seasoned into something similar. It is kind of a more unique, this will be wooded style shots, but I might actually be able to use a fairway driver to fit this, but I'm definitely gonna have this at the ready to go whenever I go play those practice rounds to really feel it out. So effortless distance, it's a great option to have in your bag and in a slot to kind of throw for you know, when you can't throw as hard as you want to. It's a really, really great disc. And then RPM had the Kiwi and the Kotare. I really feel like I'm not saying that right, but it's fine. This, to me, is a throwable tilt. This feels like I'm going to be able to do some unique things with this. There's going to be some times where maybe in my first practice round, I'm like, oh, I'll bag the Kotare for this shot and I'll go out and throw it. And then you could see this going in and out of my bag depending on the situation. Because I think in most situations, the glow metal flake scepter I have will handle most of the shots, but this just has a little bit more speed, a little bit more push, and maybe even more over stability. So it's going to be able to get me out of some serious trouble. Again, very, very cool. RPM, super surprising. You love to see it. Love their plastic and love what they're trying to do. So very, very cool stuff. This series has been so much fun. Oh my gosh, I can't express to you all how much fun it has been just getting out and throwing. I have found a new love for disc golf. It was always there, but they just needed a spark, and I really feel like Infinite and TSA and Upper Park have kind of opened the doors to some really, really amazing opportunities. So this is an amazing journey, and I'm so excited to share it with you all. So make sure, if you haven't checked out all the other videos, they're on our channel, from putters all the way up to drivers. You've seen it all. I'm going to be doing an in the bag about a couple weeks before I go out on tour to give you exactly which discs I'm throwing, colors and everything. You can see it, and we'll see how that plays out. And if I get any cool updates of discs that I'm really liking, you all will be the first to know. So make sure you guys go to infinitedisc.com, go to whalesacks.com, go to Upper Park, go to ThoughtSpace. Go support people who are supporting disc golf. Please, just go and support anyone, any local shop, any online retailer. Go support it. But if you want to support myself, those websites are the best places. So thank you everybody for watching. Stay tuned for more amazing content on the Whale Pants channel, and like, comment, subscribe. Cheers.